Well, what if the world's 10.3 million inmates could be set on the path to entrepreneurship? To explore this issue, I'm joined by Frederick Hutson. He's the CEO of Pigeonly and a former inmate. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you.
Now, when we factor in the economic and social costs, researchers from Washington University in St. Louis say incarceration costs the U.S. $1.2 trillion annually, or 6% of GDP. So how important is it to look at the economic impact of bringing these former offenders back to productivity?
It's extremely important. When you are releasing, and here in the U.S., at least 750,000 people are released every year. It's really important to be able to have them, train them in the life skills necessary so that you can have a productive and be a productive member of society.
Now, one way of doing that is partnering with and hiring ex-offenders. What impact do you think that could have on the likelihood of them returning to the prison system?
Yeah, one of the main challenges once you're released is employing gainful employment. So, when we started our company, we have 40% of our force is previously incarcerated. So we have everyone from the engineering team to the marketing team to customer service team to the products team, all previously incarcerated. So there's an insane amount of talent that is untapped from this returning citizen population. And
speaking of this returning population, you have obviously that transition of trying to get back into the regular social landscape. So what would you say, excuse me, are the biggest misperceptions that ex-offenders have when it comes to rejoining the workforce or even trying to start a business?
Yeah, I think it's the main stigma that you're dealing with is fear of acceptance. So, once you have done your time in prison, a lot of times just the idea of having to compete with people who don't have a criminal record for the same job opportunities, or will people be willing to extend you the opportunity to start your business? Just that fear alone really cripples, a lot of would-be entrepreneurs or people that are looking for employment. Is getting over that fear really is the biggest stigma to overcome.
And speaking of that, when people do apply for jobs, obviously in most job applications, they're going to ask you if you have a criminal history. Do you think that alone is enough to put people off from even trying to apply, or do you think that's something that should even be on some of these employment applications?
Yeah, I think in some cases, just that box alone saying, have you been convicted of a crime? I know in some industries it may make sense. For example, if you have a long history with financial related crimes, you may not want to apply at a bank, so that makes sense. But just this blanket box that covers all, if a guy has a drug offenses, there's no reason why he can't work at Walmart or Best Buy or any of these other retail or organizations. So I think the blanket box is not very helpful, and maybe something that can be a little bit more specific to match the type of job that you're applying for.
Now, we are seeing for people who aren't able to get gainful employment, they are trying to set out on their own, as you did with your now multi-million-dollar company. So if you're an investor, what are some of the deterrents then from having them invest, and how can you overcome some of those hurdles?
My personal experience was, the very things that I thought would be a strike against me because I was a felon, because I did do prison time, actually turned out to be my greatest strength. And when I talk to a lot of people who are currently incarcerated, recently released, and I always encourage people the very same things that you think could be your weakness could be your strength. It was because of my experience. It's because of what I went through, which is why I understood that this opportunity existed, which is why I understood the population, which we can build the products that we build. So, use your experience for your benefit. Use your experience to give you an edge to help you have a good solution to a problem that you understand very well.
So for people who were in your position, what are some examples then of perhaps some successful initiatives or programs that are out there that are really trying to help ex-offenders thrive, not only just as job applicants, but also as business owners?
Yeah, there's quite a few. One that comes to mind is Defy Ventures. They're based out of New York. They're doing great work all over the U.S., really helping and teaching entrepreneurs skills, from doing small business loans to actually helping them get in training for entrepreneurship training. There was recently a program that is backed by the SBA that is doing microloans in several pilot cities to help previously incarcerated individuals get business fundings to start businesses.
And just lastly, Frederick, what advice would you give your younger self before and during your time in prison, given what you now know?
You can never start preparing too early. Once you get that sentence and you actually show up, your mind is just really trying to process, where you are and how you're going to get through whatever period of time you're going to be there. you can really never start too early of preparing for your release. So I would have told my younger self, from the day one, prepare for your release, the first day you get there, prepare to be out. And that's the fact of the matter. Regardless of how people feel about prison, regardless of how people feel about the population, most people in prison today, here and aboard, do not have life sentences, which means they're going to be returning. So people really need to give serious thought to really empowering people to have successful reentry.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights there and your experience. Frederick Hutson, Pigeonly CEO and former offender. Thank you so much.
Thank you.